Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for July 20th, 2018. I'm Dave Slusher. I'm here with Chuck. Guest had a family emergency, so we have a substitution in across the board. And you're only going to see us one at a time for reasons I cannot explain to you, but Skype. So Skype has made some sort of change, and who knows why. So first, let us go around the horn and introduce ourselves. Chuck?
Hey, my name is Chuck Tomasi, Senior TPMM at ServiceNow. Been a customer for a couple of years, been an employee for about 8. That adds up to about 10 years experience on the platform, and I am happy to share it with you today.
And Andrew?
Awesome. Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Barnes. I am a customer at Nuvant Health. I've been on the platform for about 4 years as a customer and a partner, and I was excited to be here today, and who knows what we're doing.
And I'm Dave Slusher. I'm a developer advocate with the platform business unit here at ServiceNow, developer.servicenow.com. So with all that said, what we were going to do is we were going to have a quick recap of Chuck's Todoist. He had some insights, and we were going to just do a quick recap and then go into Todd's Meetup app, and we were going to do some work on that. In fact, without Todd, actually, there's some technical challenges that we'll just reschedule that. So we're actually just going to go ahead with Chuck and the Todoist app. So that's what our agenda will be. We will just continue basically from the point where we left off at the end of last week. Before we get to that, gentlemen, same order as we went before. What are you drinking this week? Chuck?
I'm going to try to do this because every time I glance over at YouTube, I'm looking at like my left eye. It's zoomed in and something crazy going on. But I have from Golden Road Brewing, the Hefeweizen made in LA. So this is the Golden Road Hefe, a can of that. Here, we'll do the sound. Oh, yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Chuck. And I looked in my fridge today, and I didn't see anything beer-wise other than something I wasn't going to drink. So today we are going to get a Big Vine Chardonnay that I shall be consuming for today.
And I am drinking an Ace Pineapple Craft Cider. And
those are really good.
Yeah, not beer, but beer adjacent. And I think I have figured out, actually, while we were talking, I think I figured out why this is. OBS is now picking up like the little tiny Skype preview window. I think we're not looking at the main Skype window. So luckily that won't really be that shouldn't be an effect when Chuck starts screen sharing. But I think that's why we're seeing, or I think what we're seeing is actually that little flyover window, as opposed to the big one. But every single time Skype updates, something weird happens on this. So good gravy. Okay, so Chuck, why don't you take over and start sharing, and we'll go from there. Also, this does imply there may be I may have to do some emergency reconfiguring if Skype is picking up the wrong thing.
Make sure I'm sharing the right one. Switch screen?
No, it looks. I see like your background and a bunch of windows.
All right, no, that ain't it then. It's this one. It didn't give me the choice. It's being really slow today. How about that? Are we there yet? I click it. Wow, this machine's being really slow. The new machine is on order.
I'm seeing like a calendar and your text expander definitions.
No, you don't need it. You don't need text expander. What do I got to do to make this go? Okay. Still seeing the same screen.
Now we're seeing your Skype window. Yeah, I'm seeing me.
Skype window is right. Okay, there we go. Wow. One word. I'm just going to get a t-shirt that says Skype. with the anyway. Had a good discussion with Garrett Griffin this morning. We arranged a WebEx call, not to introduce too many technical challenges to this thing, but I had spent some time last Saturday kind of crafting up before I forget, let me turn my camera off. spent some time last Saturday giving some thought and jotting down some notes to how I can fix this issue that we had last week, where we sort of fixed it when ServiceNow made an update to a task record. And I will show that to you in just a sec. Let me bring up my episode table. We'll pick on episode 55, since that's the one I'm currently working on. That is, I also, halfway through the week, changed the states of my episodes. So now I have states that align better with the process as a whole. So if you notice any changes, that's what they're all about. So my work in progress is one and only one episode right now. We're working on number 55, which is our London platform features on August 14th. Hope to see you there. We'll have a registration link up soon. First email blast goes out on the 31st. And what we did is when we generate these tasks, I don't have a project ID in here yet. Maybe we should pick on 54 because it's the only one with a project. and it's done. It has been posted to the web. So pardon the back and forth here. Number 54 is way down here on the bottom. And what happens is if I add a task, it sends an outbound REST request to Todoist, and Todoist adds that task. If I update one of those tasks, it sends a REST request to Todoist to update that task. And every time you do something in Todoist, whether it's by API or being manual, it sends a round trip webhook back at you. It goes, here you go. Somebody updated something in Todoist. Now, we don't know whether that was done manually in the web interface. Like, say we did that over here. I do need to delete these because this is bogus data from last time. This is a test account.
Or on your phone or any of the other methods.
Right. There's no way to say, what is the source of this change? Is there a UID? Is there a host? What's going on? And I did put in an email to them, and unfortunately, none of their API people, maybe the API person, I don't know at this point what it means, but they're not available till at least next week to have that discussion. But they do appreciate that I got in touch and have this requirement to say, what is the source of this change? Because that would greatly help us to say, hey, incoming scripted web REST API would say, what does the webhook payload say? Does it say Todoist web? Does it say IFTTT? Does it say ServiceNow? What application is actually making this change? That would be useful. But in lieu of that, we sort of partially addressed this with a business rule. Let me collapse this down in Studio. And server development business rules, update task only if interactive. So if ServiceNow makes the change, it goes ahead and fires off this business rule that sends the outbound REST API. Finish hurrying up and coming up here. And right here is where we say only do this if there's a human being driving the keyboard. If the scripted REST API tries to do it, come on, finish drawing the freaking thing. It was in the condition on here. If the scripted REST API does it, obviously this won't work because it's not interactive. But in my discussion with Garrett, he said, well, we do a few things in excess of what Todoist offers you. You can do meta strings like hash project name, and it will put the project name into your project. If you're not familiar with Todoist, these are little keyboard shortcuts. So if I add a task and say, buy some resistors, and I can hit a hashtag and it will start listing out my projects, and I can actually start typing the projects and it'll limit it down like a reference qualifier. So I can put that right in there and say, okay, you belong to this project, and it makes that nice. I can say this is a priority 2 with a P2. I can say I want to do this at some location, which would pertain to my labels, but since this is a free account, it doesn't do that. I can even put in times and dates that it recognizes as time and date parsing, which you can disable, and I have on my paid for account. So what he's done is added a few more, like, I think this is going to take, what did he say? It was like hash 4, and that would get parsed. The webhook would say, here, ServiceNow, you figure this out. He's using it in a different context around project tasks, and also hooked it up so that each user can have their own Todoist account. So when you assign a task in ServiceNow, it goes to that person's Todoist. And if I wanted to reassign this to Craig, he put in a string that would reassign it to Craig, and it would go to him or Craig Stepp or whatever he does, and then comes back and cleans up these meta strings. He says, you know what? When I see it fully displayed, I want to see it this way. So he's actually got this round trip that needs to be stopped. Now, what I thought of doing in our simpler situation, where it's either ServiceNow or Todoist making this update, is make some sort of locking mechanism. When ServiceNow makes an update, it should lock the record and say, or some way to say, ServiceNow started this. When I updated it to Todoist, Todoist is obviously going to fire the webhook back, and the webhook would then have to say, am I the originator, or is there a lock in place that says ServiceNow did it? If ServiceNow did it, it just removes the lock. If Todoist did it, there's no lock, it goes and makes the update. So I have two options, and I this is the part that I deliberated on for a while, is should that lock be part of my task record, which is down here. Let me generate the tasks for this, and it will do everything we said it did. We had this working last week. Generates the tasks in ServiceNow. There should be like 18 of them now. I updated my template again. Yep, 18. And Todoist now has a bunch of new tasks that just came in from the REST API from ServiceNow. And then it also fired back the webhook. But that business rule stops it and go, wait, you're not interactive. I'm not going to update the ServiceNow record again. The challenge being is how do we fix that so that this works the right way when the API comes along and does its thing?
Chuck, so what you're saying is now if you edit something directly on Todoist, it now won't push back because of that business rule. That will prevent the webhook from.
No, the webhook will still do its thing, but the webhook isn't smart enough to go, should I update? It's actually updating it twice right now, because the webhook is saying, I got a payload that says task is created, or actually it's only the updated one. It says, I've got a payload that says you've been updated. And for example, we did this last week, and we say, let's say we change this from review campaign materials at computer to just review materials. And this is going to fire the outbound REST. Todoist updates its task, fires the webhook back at us, and then the scripted REST API updates this again with the same description I just gave.
Right. Okay.
Which is a double update for the same thing. And
plus, and it has the if it's an active record, it has the minute chance of some sort of conflict where somebody's doing something weird. Okay. So that's what. Okay.
Well, what's even crazier, and I haven't verified this yet, is who was the updated by last? Was it the webhook? Will this say system, or will it say Chuck? Come on, finish drawing your related lists. And it says, slow computer, take a drink. Okay, it actually does say Chuck updated this. Interesting. Okay, that's pretty far out. So
so what you wanted it to do essentially is that if you're going to use your locking mechanism, you want to lock it when you edit it in ServiceNow, and then whenever you get your webhook, you unlock.
Yes. That's my solution, and Garrett's was a little different because he's also saying, well, if I update this in Todoist, I want to update it in ServiceNow, and then come back and update it in Todoist again. So he made an entire table that said, what's the task, what's the Todoist ID, a reference to this task table, and a string field for the Todoist task ID, so on and so forth. So it was a bit more complex, but I do like it from the standpoint that his solution is also capable of handling multiple Todoist accounts. All you really got to do is go and create this integration table that says, here's Chuck's Todoist API key. Whenever you assign something to Chuck, go and update Chuck's Todoist account. Whenever you assign something to Craig, go and update Craig's Todoist account. I'm not doing that right now because we both have paid accounts and I can just transfer them in the same project. But I do like that, and I may go back and re-engineer mine to use multiple Todoist accounts. So what I was the two options I've got is, number one, I could take the quick and dirty approach, put a checkbox on here that says this record is locked. Todoist, when the webhook comes in and the scripted REST API activates, if you see that checked, don't do any updates except uncheck it. But to me, that feels like a hack because now I'm still doing 2 updates to this record, one by the scripted REST API and one that was done 2 seconds earlier by me. And now I have to play around with, well, if I'm unchecking, then I do auto sys fields false so that I don't mess with any other fields. And it felt a little bit of a hack to me. The other option. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Give me your other option and I'll see if I have that. I may have your other option or
the other option is to make a table and just keep track of what locks are in place. And it's probably the world's simplest table. All it has is a reference to this record. And if you see that record on the lock table, well, now the scripted REST API can either update it or delete it. Mm-hmm. Garrett used a state, either expected or received. I'm just going to say, is it there or not? The scripted REST API, if it sees this lock record, it deletes it, which means, and that way ServiceNow just says, go, yeah, I'm working here. Go make this record in another table that has a reference to me. And that way the scripted REST API comes in and goes, hey, is that record there? No? Good. I'm going to update this task record. So it's 2 glide record queries, but it's an intelligent query to say, should I move forward with the update on this record or not? And if the record is there, it won't touch my task, but it'll just delete the lock.
Yeah, and so I've done this quite a number of times on integrations with a staging sort of table. Mm-hmm. And the benefit here for you is one of the things you can see when you do it that way is you can see if you have a problem with your integration. Because if you have a bunch of locked records, you have a problem.
Or many locks for the same record.
Well, that's almost exactly what I was going to say, except I was going to add one more field to your lock table, which is the timestamp at which you locked it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's sys created by or sys created on will give you that.
Okay. So then what I would do is, because one of the things that you don't want to happen is, let's say for some reason the webhook fails to happen for some transient reason. Now you've got that out of sync thing, right? Where it never got unlocked. So I would make so you could use this created as de facto the same thing, which is to say if it's more than X threshold ago, it's the same as being unlocked, like more than 30 seconds ago or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So then you don't have that. Then you don't get that. It's not that strict alternation where you've got to have both ends of this, because really and truly you only want you only want this locked for the maximum time that you could ever expect that round trip to be.
Sure.
And then anything beyond that is now now that becomes its own different failure point for a different situation.
Let's move forward then. I think we have our design down, and I'm glad you came up with that.
And I like that. I like the external thing because I don't like especially for something like this, which is really just transient information. I don't like adding it to the main record. That feels wrong.
Agreed. My first thought was, hey, I'll just put a checkbox on there. It'll show whether it's locked or not. And then the more I thought about it, the less I liked it, because I've got 2 different parties interacting with this table to do. And it's like, no. It could be done, but it didn't feel clean to me. Okay, really all I need.
And when you're dealing with the task-based table, if you were in a regular, sort of real world environment, you'd be like, oh, I've got 7 check marks for different integrations for the incident table. Yay.
Right. Well, nobody said you had to put it on the form.
Well, no, I mean just in the table, and then it, makes the table bigger and slower.
Oh, true. All right, so let's just make a reference field to my episode task table. I don't think I need to make anything else. I mean, I did like Garrett's idea. We may choose to add more fields later with like the Todoist task ID. That way, the scripted REST API that only has like a Todoist task ID can find it that way. Mine, I could dot walk to get there, because remember we have our Todoist task ID on the referenced record.
Yeah, conceptually, The only thing I might do is put the expected time versus just going off of the created. I might put the expire time field actually in the record. Like,
okay, so some sort of expiry and then
so
set it
that
to
you
what,
can
30 seconds
control
from the time it was
that
created?
time via, a different mechanism than the check in the script.
Schedule job, that kind of thing.
So
flow
the check in
designer.
the script could always just be, is it less than this?
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, I like the idea of an hourly scheduled job that just deletes every lock because again, these are transient. That's what I like about them being separate, is they're transient information. So there's no reason to keep them after a minute, really.
And you could do a calculated field. Ooh, wouldn't even have to really do any scripting for that. Just put it as the value would be calculated. Let me go get that. Now that we have our table set up, let's go to expiry dictionary entry. Default value, advanced view. We'll make a value. I like it. Apologies for the slowness here. Did I tell you my new machine
really
got ordered?
itching to want to get to use the function field in Kingston. I haven't yet, but I really want to. I have use cases. I just haven't got to do it yet. I saw it at the top there, and I was like, I want to click that button.
Okay, so we can take. Should we just do this as a glide date time thing? You guys tell me if you've got other ideas. Oops.
Yeah, no. Glide date time. Add seconds. Have fun.
Add seconds. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. What sounds fair to you? Shouldn't take more than 60 seconds for a webhook to kick in, right? And it's going to be the default value, so we should return gdt.getValue.
Well, and one of the things Garrett's pointing out is the use of this can also be, you can get some sort of idea of if you want to do a retry because you didn't get your webhook, which means it probably didn't push from ServiceNow properly, or their thing was down. So there's benefits to having this table, and you could do that scheduled job Dave was talking about and say, hey, if I didn't get this in the last hour, retry it, or whatever interval you want.
I like it. I like it. Let's see if that first test, let's start simple today. We need early success is, let's see if we can actually create a lock record with an expiry field on it. Why don't I have the expiry field on my list layout? That's disappointing. Let's go configure list layout. We'll do both created by and expiry. Let's create a new record. And we'll reference some task. Whee! And save it. Did that fill in automatically? Ooh, that's a little unnerving.
What?
Oh, I didn't mean created by, I mean created on. That had a default value of when the form was opened, but I suppose if this is being done mechanically behind the scenes, no one's going to give a crap because it's not like it takes a long time to create that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Pardon my French when I said give a crap. Let's fix that. I didn't want created by. I wanted created on. I missed. That never happens. Huh? So this is 5512. This is 5337. I took a few seconds to talk about it. Does that sound about right? Minute.
Well, I think that's when you updated it recalculated.
Yeah, so the calculated field based off of the now time is not.
Oh, you're right. We need
every time you read that, that's gonna update.
Yep. We need this value. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Okay, we can fix that.
Calculated fields, people, they run every time.
Yeah, they do. But we don't need to run it every time. Maybe we should just do it with a business rule. This seems a little inefficient.
Yeah, I was expecting to set it with our.
Okay, let's do an insert business rule.
Because we're going to create the record anyway, so we might as well set it when we create the record.
Yep. Let's reload the form. Sometimes I've seen this. The script field goes a little nuts in Studio.
I mean, but Chuck, do we even need that, or do we want to? Because we're going to be creating this programmatically, right?
Right. That's what I was saying. Is we're going to create the record. So when we create the record, we will populate the expire time.
All right. I get it. All right. So let's take this out just so there's no confusion. Let's turn that off. Save that. And we're going to create this record when? We're going to create this record. Create the record when we do an update or create. Right?
I think it has to be update, because you're going to create. You want this to get created right before you do the Todoist integration.
Right, but I also do the Todoist
Even on
integration
create
here.
right?
Even on create, it's sending
So
out
do we
an
have to be
outbound
in
rest to
both?
create that. Yeah, we should probably put this in a script include.
Script include. Yeah.
Probably the task util or Todoist. Probably task util. Or we can make a new one all around the lock utils. What do you guys think? Is it time for a new script include, or should we just throw it in here?
I'd just throw it in there with it.
I would start in here and factor out if it becomes unwieldy.
All right. It sounds like it's closely related. So let's begin by defining our table. Lock table. I have nothing better to name it. X, S, and C, tech now, episode, task, lock. That's a little on the long side for table for me, but okay. Self-descriptive. Scroll that up.
All right. So we did get a suggestion, which was default value versus calculated.
I like that. Default value, we could do JavaScript colon something and put it in here anyway.
Yep.
Okay. What are we doing here? Lock task function. What are we passing it? A glide record. So we'll call this task gr because we're good citizens again. And we will create the lock record. Var lock. It's hard to type. New glide record. Lock table. Stop me if I'm not making any sense. No, I have been drinking. Lock gr.new record. Lock gr.expiry. Well, we can fix that first by pasting that in. And then we can say gdt.getValue. And lock task. Did I call it task? What the heck did I call it?
I don't remember.
Episode task.
Thankfully, it's right there.
Episode task. I know. I remember. Episode task equals task gr. All right. What is it, Dave? You like to use get unique value?
Get unique value is the one, but you're missing a K.
Yeah.
And you might.
That's why it didn't turn blue.
Do we want to? It doesn't really matter that much. If literally the only thing we care about is the sys-ID, do we want to pass the whole record in here, or just pass the ID?
Good point. We had this discussion last time, I think.
I guess actually the pattern is if we're passing the record, we might as well just pass it everywhere. If we're always passing records, let's just pass the record.
It's a reference, so I don't know that you're actually saving anything.
Yeah,
retrieving the sys-ID and passing the sys-ID.
There's literally no. I mean, there's literally no runtime. It's the identical.
Right.
You know, you get down to machine code, it's the same thing. It's just a question of how you like the interface.
Dave's always got his eye on the consistency factor.
It's good.
All right. That locks it. Obviously, we need an unlock, which is going to be even easier. What are we going to get from the scripted REST API, though? We don't have the sys-ID to the task. We have the Todoist ID, which we've been passing the Todoist object.
Well, the scripted REST API has to, at some point, convert it back to the record, right? Because it's acting on it.
Right.
So we could...
Why don't we go look and see what we got our hands on in that scripted REST API? So I can't remember. We wrote that a couple of weeks ago. Racehorses, accept webhook. That sounds like a good name. Let's enter that in the next Kentucky Derby.
Except
number 15, accept webhook. Hey, there's crazier horse names out there.
There are.
It's that could be a hackathon team name too.
Oh, wow. That is actually an excellent hackathon team name.
He's writing that down. We have to trademark these. I offer that to the public, whoever wants it. So TaskUtil, I can get. Where was it? Somewhere in here. I thought I had. I just passed the content object ID. I never really get the task record that goes with that. It must be in.
It must be back in TaskUtil.
Update. Yeah, it must be in TaskUtil, like update task ID. There's like a get task by ID, update task ID, generate task. It's probably in Todoist util is where it is. Dang, I can't remember. That would make sense because it is part of, there's create task, there's update task, and those are the outbound REST APIs. Where do I actually find a task by ID?
Go back to TaskUtil.
I think it was in TaskUtil.
You're almost there.
Generate task. That's what copies it over. Update
so
task
Todoist ID is update. Yeah, so it uses the.
Oh, there's the get. It does it by itself. I thought I called something else to get that task by ID, but okay, this works. Oh, that's by text. Update task is because I have the ID here already. So I just got to do that again. Right?
This might be, so this may make sense to just factor that little chunk there.
Yeah,
if you're going to reuse
abstract that out because we're going to reusing it. Yeah.
Yep. So get task by Todoist ID. Sound good to you?
Here's something. Are you guys, I know some people, when I look at other people's code, are really good about marking the internal and external pieces of the script they did. Yeah. I almost never do. I never do the underscore, but some people do.
I get on a thing and then I don't. And some people alphabetize their functions too. Make sure that they're alphabetically ordered in the script include, which I like the idea, but we're going fast here today.
What about you, Andrew? Do you mark those?
Yeah, the internal and externals. Yeah, I try to. I commit to, but I don't have 100% success rate.
I'll buy that. Okay, we want to pass in the Todoist task ID. So we really don't. This one does an update. We're going to pass back what, a glide record? What do you guys think? Take this part out. And then this one has to do an update. So I'm just trying to think of what's useful to both. Yeah, that's getting uglier by the second.
You just return the episode task record, right?
Yeah, return. Yeah, just do the get and return the whole record.
Yep.
So you're really only abstracting out a couple, like 2 lines of that.
Okay. And then it's either going to return. Oops, I took too much. That one doesn't need to go there. That one belongs down here. Okay, so it was a copy, not a cut. If I can get it, I return the return task. Yeah, task. My fingers don't know what to type today. Otherwise, just return. You get a null. And this one should be now. Get rid of that. Yes.
I would just make your var task gr that function. So I would put it one line down.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it needs to be an if. It needs to be in an if. Crap.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Oh,
yeah. Move that down one.
Okay. Yeah. Then I do an if. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be get this dot underscore get task by Todoist ID and pass in ed, which needs to be next. Oops. Stop it. Ah, dang nabbit. I did
ed.id. Right?
ed.id. Yes. Okay, that calls that. Gets a task gr.
And then I would just change that to, change that to compare to null.
Yep. Which I think you can just do that. If it worked, go do it. Otherwise, go home. Yes. You guys are watching as well.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. No. Yes. So let's copy that. We're changing a lot of code without testing it. I'm getting
So-
nervous.
Yeah, it's a lot. Garrett is asking if we need to internally reference this episode task table inside our
No, because
new
it's
function.
it's
And I
because
don't think
where I
so.
put it. If it's in
Yeah.
initialize, then you do. I did not put it in initialize. Look at this. I'm missing a var on that one. Not anymore. I'm not. Yeah. Okay, so there's complete task. And we were going to unlock the task in a similar fashion, right?
Correct.
So first we need to get the task record. Missing some curly braces here.
Oh, we got a problem. We got a big problem here.
What do you
which
see?
is you're unlocking. You're getting that by ID, by Todoist ID.
Yeah.
It's not what we're gonna have here. Oh,
Yeah, it is.
oh, it is. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Because the webhook always has the Todoist ID that you either just created or just updated.
Okay. Then we need to add that to the function prototype.
You are right. How did I miss that? We have Todoist object.
Okay.
So they're consistent. So we lock it, then we unlock it. When we get the unlock, if it finds that it's going to get the task record, now we need to get the lock that goes with that task record, right?
Right.
Our lock gr equals new glide record lock table. Okay. If lock gr.get episode task is task gr.get unique value. Yeah. Then
you have one too many parentheses there.
do I thought it looked a little. No, that's 3. This one's matched with get.
Yeah,
This
okay.
one's matched with if.
All right.
It's a
Then we
lot,
just
but-
do lock gr.delete record. Wow, that seemed a little too easy when we got back to it. What am I missing?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Find it. If it's there, kill it.
Okay.
See, that's-
the
This process
other
is very
thing-
classic. Very classic refactoring, right? Is once you find that you're doing a thing 3 times,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though it's like 2 lines,
Oh, twice for me. Yeah.
yeah, you should wrap it up because
Yep.
again, if you find that there's some minor tweak in there, who wants to do anything more than once? So
Yep. Just make sure I got this right. And here it is. Okay, because I was copying and pasting. All right. Let's see if are we going to unit test this at all?
all right. And what were you about to say, Andrew?
So I was thinking about the time. Do we need to care anything about the time at the moment?
Oh, yeah. When we created the record. No, we put the time in there.
The
Yeah, but
times,
are we
the
checking
times in
it?
there for the lock and the unlock, I would say that we don't need those. But I think when we do the logic of when we're deciding if the lock is active, then that's the point where that would probably come in. So at the point where we actually use the
Yes.
lock
Okay,
to
that makes sense. Is do we update the record or not? Yes or no? Is
Okay.
the lock there or not?
So that would be back in the scripted REST API.
right at the point where we begin to
Which-
somewhere there's going to be an if, which is we're only going to do this if essentially what we're saying if
Old lock.
really probably we want one more thing in task util, which is lock active or something like that.
Yeah.
A question.
Yep. I was just going to say that because that looks like we're just going to call this. We could call this from update. This is feeling like we should have made some lock utils. Okay.
You absolutely
Well-
can anytime.
well,
It's not a
After 3 of these, you definitely can group them up and throw them in another one.
I've made script includes with one function before. Let's see. And what do we just call it? Old lock and return a Boolean?
me personally, I would like is to be in there. I would like a
You
it's a
are
question-
right.
It's old
I like
lock.
that. Yep. Because then when it's in an if,
It's very
Is-
descriptive. I know what
Yep.
it means.
It reads better. Okay, so what are we passing it? We know we've got the task GR. We could get the lock that goes with that task GR, just like we did here, right? Which means we want to refactor
So we have
this.
to ask: Are we looking at this at the first stage, which I think is
Well, the
what we
webhook
are,
is
which
coming
said
in.
we have the Todoist ID at that point, right?
I'd like to keep it as clean as possible. The webhook is coming in, and it's just saying, "Hey, go update this task or go update this task ID." So I might need to put this in both. That way, the task util self-contains all the locking and unlocking and does all this other garbage. That actually, the business rule is going to lock it and unlock it. Do we put this in the business rule that's trying to update?
Well, the business rule would lock it, and then the inbound stuff would unlock it.
For example, I'm going to. Do we want to couple the lock aging check with the update task, or make it two separate function calls? Because right now we're just saying, hey, if go and update the task. This isn't even checking the lock right now. We just want to say
I only want to check it once, so it feels okay to just put inside of update task as the start thing is should I update this, yes or no, inside of update. Unless I abstract it before update.
But there's update task and then there's update task. Oh, that's update task ID. So that one's doing something different. Okay. In the case of update task ID, do we care about the lock? No, because the webhook is going to. That's part of the item add. We don't know the task ID. I'm going through this mentally. When we create a new task in ServiceNow, it sends out up on REST. The webhook comes back, and we get the task ID from the webhook because it didn't work from the REST response. So we put the webhook in there. That way, this really doesn't care about what's locked and what's not. So adding task doesn't need to lock. Update needs to lock. Did I just make any sense? Did it help in deciding where this goes? I wasn't paying attention.
You made sense, and no, I don't think it helped.
Okay. Where do we want to lock and unlock, or tell the webhook it's safe to update or not safe to update?
So the webhook is where we're going to check the lock, right?
Okay. So let's start with that. The webhook is where we're going to check the lock. So if, like right there here, if task util dot is locked content obj, we don't have the task. We don't know anything about the task other than its Todoist ID.
And if yes, we update, and if no, we get sad.
If it
rather the reverse to that.
This
so
isn't is locked.
Top.
We don't even have an is locked yet. We have a lock, we have an unlocked, and is an old lock.
Oh,
right.
That's true.
Yeah,
we don't have a check for lock.
That's what I think. That's what was missing. What was confusing my brain? Like, wait, what? Okay, lock task, unlock task is old lock, and we'll get this is locked. This should be pretty easy to get. But what we're passing is the Todoist ID, and we can't get that without doing another task lookup. This is why I'm thinking maybe putting the Todoist task ID in the lock might make more sense. We're there anyway, creating the task.
Well, let's put them both in there.
Oh, wait. If you... Yeah, okay. Where did we create the lock? Lock task. We've got the task GR. Let's go and first put it on a table. Are we going to get any testing done today, or are we just going to write code that doesn't? Todoist task ID. Sound good to you? Sound good to me. It's a string. I'm fine. That's all we need, right? Then when we create,
we already had a.
We have a reference. We have a reference to the task, and I said I could get there by dot walking, But you need to
Oh.
first figure out. We're doing it the other way around. We're going, hey, task, do you have a lock? So when we create the lock, when we lock the task, we're going to set the episode. We're going to set the expiry. We're going to set the Todoist task. Wow, that was fast. How did it know that? That was crazy. Task gr.todoist task ID. There. Now, what we could do, instead of doing a lookup by episode task, we could pass in the Todoist object ID. We get the ID. We don't need to do the, hey, do you have a task? And that tells you what the lock is.
Well, in
Right?
fact, unlock task probably doesn't even need Todoist object.
Right. Or the task object. No, it does, because it's got the Todoist task ID in it.
Yeah, but what I was thinking is once
We don't need to get
when
the
you want
task.
to unlock task, you already have the locked record. When you're going to call unlock task, you have the
Yep.
locked record.
How about this? How about it? Well, I'm not sure if I
Do you?
love a side effect like this, but what if the response back from is locked is the, or instead of is locked, it's get lock.
And get lock returns either a sysid or a null.
It returns the record or null.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Well, an islock
What-
should do an unlock, and when it does that, it has the record that's locked, and so that's why you don't need the Todoist ID to do your unlock. You have the record you want to get rid of right then.
Okay, so you're saying unlock would have the task gr.
Not only would it have the task gr, it actually has the record I want to get rid of right then.
Oh, the lock gr.
Get lock checks for a lock and
Okay.
removes it if it exists.
All
I
right,
don't
let's-
even think I need an unlock task function. Get lock checks for a lock, and if it exists, it removes it.
I don't know if I'd group those together for some reason. It
Yeah,
doesn't-
that's
just from a unit testing standpoint, it seems like it'd be easier to say, what does get lock return? Null or a glide record? Let's start this from the top. Get lock is going to accept the task
Todoist
gr?
ID.
Todoist ID. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Todoist ID. Make sure I'm spelling right. And it's going to our lock gr equals new glide record lock table. Come on, fingers. We're in a hurry. If lock gr.get Todoist, in quotes, people, Todoist task ID, comma, Todoist ID. If you can get that record by ID, it is therefore locked, and we will return the lock gr, right? Otherwise, you will return a big fat 0. All right. So
I'd almost even return a false. That's 0.
then you're checking for an object or a fault. Well,
yeah. I would
okay.
return a null, not a false.
I guess if you were
Okay.
just doing if not get
I would
locked,
do a
then
yes or a no, but that's because I'm already jumping to the next step, which is I want to get rid of the object. So never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, so unlock is going to take not a task gr, but a lock gr, right? If it worked. This is where we check lock gr? Or should we be checking it before we call unlock task? I'm trying to think of where that check would go. Where are we calling get lock from?
We should be calling it from the webhook.
Yeah,
Or-
get lock is from the
Okay.
webhook. It's a check to see if there's a lock, and if there's a lock, I want to then unlock it. Whether or
Okay.
not you abstract that to another script, function or not is fine.
If taskutil.getLock And we're passing just the Todoist ID, not the entire Todoist object. So it's going to be content obj.eventData.id. If you can get that lock, then update the record and unlock
opposite
it.
of it. If you get a lock, you don't update the record.
Oh, yes. Okay. But we didn't update it, so we need to delete the lock.
Yes.
Okay, so unlock doesn't take a lock GR because we never. Oh, dang.
So that's why
Either
I say
way, we're going
when
to
you check for a lock, you
Yeah.
remove the lock.
We don't have our lock GR here anyway. Okay, if you check for the lock, you remove the lock because you're going to do it anyway. It's either going to be implicit with this or explicit out here where we just say taskutil.unlock.
Right.
I would be a fan of doing the explicit rather than have getLock have the side effects.
Okay. If that's the case, then we need to call out a new var. taskutil. Oops. Getlock. Why am I bothering?
Oh, you cut.
I cut. You're right. I darn well cut. And if not lock GR, then update the task. Whether you're locked or not, I want a taskutil.unlock task lock GR. And in there, I definitely have to check if it's null or not. Yes, because there could be a lingering lock.
No, because
No.
it's
That
either
should
going to
be
be no. I would just put that up
Yeah,
under.
else?
No, I would put that in the under the update task, right? Oh no,
Oh,
no,
okay. You
no, no,
wanted
no.
to-
Well, no, if it exists, you want to
'cause we're
not
gonna have
update
to do
the
this.
task.
We're gonna have to do the
but
same thing
delete it.
for complete and some other options here too. So putting it in update may not make the most sense.
You know what? I'm actually not. We may not want this in the switch at all.
Okay.
What if we put that above the switch, and we only go into the switch if there's no lock? Like, so we don't even if we've got a lock, we don't do any of these jokers. then we
Because
unlock
item added doesn't item added wouldn't use a lock. No,
Ooh,
nor
that's true.
would add a project or some of the other
Okay.
tasks.
Never mind then.
That's about it.
Yeah, then I guess we have to do it. Yeah, I think the way you've got it right now is the best way then.
Actually, this is an else, because if you didn't lock, then go do the update. Why am I having a hard time getting through this? Is it an else or is it not an else?
If
there's
I would
no
say-
lock, I update, and if there is a lock, I
delete.
unlock. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
So
right.
it's an else.
Dang it! I hate Command C twice instead of Command V once. All right. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you. Wow. That was harder than it needed to be. We could put that all in one big ternary operator if you guys are insane.
Yeah. Your screen's not big enough for that. I'd be okay, but the words are too long.
Get rid of that. You're right. I don't like doing that with this script editor with. Save. Okay, ScriptRS API is going to do that. Let's make sure we have.
We're
the
not going
parts
to run this at all today.
That's what I'm getting the feeling. Okay, unlock doesn't need to check whether or not. Oh, I did damage this. I mean, changed it a little bit. What did I do? So we're getting a lock GR, which means we don't need that. It already knows that it's a valid lock GR, so we're passing that. We don't need to get the task. We really just, is this really as easy as this?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. It just reads better in the other script. Oops. I like it that way. Here, I know. Just so it's not out there by its lonesome.
Return.
Return -1.
Chuck needs another drink.
Everybody else gets a return. Why don't I? So we'll work on the is old logic later. Or the is old log. We'll figure out what that needs and what it sends later. I want to test something. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Run it
Okay.
at least once.
Step 1. You know, it's going to happen so fast, we're not going to know. We should probably comment out that delete just to verify that we make a lock.
Why don't we throw some logs in just to, why don't do a log this is happening?
Okay. You want to play it that way. Because this is happening asynchronously, kids. Scripty debugger isn't going to help us today. Let's do gs.info, locking. I don't know. We want to put what do we want to put in there? A sysid of the task?
Yeah, I would do the task gr to do a task ID. Or what are we looking at up
value.
on? Yeah, the
Get unique value. Spell unique correctly. I can type get value sysid faster. Just being a crusty old programmer now. Okay, that's locking. Let's say unlocking. gs.info, unlocking. Now this is a different ID. Get lock gr dot episode task dot. We can do a get unique value off a dot walk.
I think you should be
Actually,
able to.
we don't need to because this is a get value anyway. All right, that's a sysid. We don't need to do a get unique value because we've already got the unique value. And let's do a gs.info getting lock. You know these are going to be out of order anyway, but that's okay. gs.info lock found. And gs.info no lock here. Anything else you want to comment? I mean, debug log. We don't have anything there. We don't have anything there.
Yeah, I think that's good.
It's good enough.
Let's go make a run for it. First test. Let's make it easy, kids. Add a task.
Let's see if we didn't break the integration in total first.
Right. Yeah. Crack. If it gives us an error, we're going home. We don't have enough time to debug today. System logs, all. We got our webhook. Accepted webhook. I don't see anything about locking.
Logs.
I don't see anything about locking.
Because we're not checking the lock on the ad.
We're not checking a lock on it. You are
Was
absolutely correct. Good call. Good call.
I didn't even notice it was an ad. Update. Yay!
Buy some more diodes.
More diodes. Who doesn't want a diode? You get a diode. You. Everyone gets one.
Boom! Ed is not defined.
Not defined.
It was trying to get a lock, and then we died on Ed. Crap. Somewhere we have an ed.id. Let's scroll this up, and we'll look for Ed. Where's Ed? No, not that one. I'm going to do
How
a
about
blow
dot
after.
ed?
Well, it's Ed, or Ed dot. He's looking for Ed dot Ed ID. There. We passed Todoist task ID. Fresser. Todoist task ID. My fault. Anybody else?
Bueller.
Okay. Save it. Come on, go away, blue dot. Thank you. Check for a sale on diodes. It's all about the diodes today.
So I was in a benefit of being here last week, and Garrett asked us a question about last week, which is for create tasks, are you handling the response that Todoist sends back? You said that didn't work last week, and
no,
I'm gonna guess we're gonna
when I did like 14 task creations at once, half of them said I didn't get a response, and I don't know if that was just a weakness in Todoist API. So I went with, I found that every single one of them sent back a webhook, and I had the ID there, so I pulled it out of that instead. That's why I have an item added in my scripted REST API to pay attention to that. Okay.
Okay.
Accepted webhook, no lock here. I tried to get the lock. These are obviously out of order. I wish I had milliseconds displayed here, but I don't. And I think that works. Let's try contestant number 2. Please sign in. We have
No lock here.
episode task locks, episode test. Where's my episode? Save time and headaches. Now, we should see a sale on diodes in here. Right?
On aisle 3, we have a
Oh, we
sale
still have
on
18 tasks.
diodes.
We never got our item added.
Is that
Add that direction. What happened? We might have an issue with adding
that-
issue.
that's the episode 54?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Look for somebody who says anything about diodes. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna have to check my item add event handler. It
Did
clearly
we
isn't
dump it
working.
at the wrong?
That's not what we're here for. Review campaign materials and diodes. Should have done llamas. All right.
You're just going wild with diodes now.
I am. Diodes are a one-way gate. Okay, so
View
updated
and
Todoist.
diodes.
It did
Outbound
push.
is
Check
today.
some logs.
Check some logs.
It's very deceptive. Your
Getting
thing
locked,
says
no
logs, but you
lock
weren't on
here.
logs.
It didn't find the lock.
Did we create it?
Mm. Yeah, did we create it on the outbound push?
Yeah, I don't think we've actually.
I don't
locked
think
them
we
yet.
did.
We created the function, but we didn't create a business rule to lock yet to call the function.
You are correct. We have said business rule.
So
Update
it did a
task
really good job. It checked for a lock, and there was no lock, and it proceeded.
We've tested that case both ways from Sunday.
We
Okay,
created a
TU
lot of
dot
script. It didn't do anything useful yet.
lock task current. Did we passed it a GR? Please tell me we did, right?
I feel like yes, but
Yeah, one to the left, task util.
Thank you. What did we pass? Lock. It's lock task gr. Did I even call it
Yay.
the right thing in my business rule? That's a script include. That's a business rule. Lock task. Okay. Whew. Got that right. Yeah, it would help if you lock it to check the lock. I went out the door, but I forgot to close the door.
we created this really awesome lock and a check for a lock, and we didn't lock it ever.
Didn't use it. All right, back to a lonely task record.
So we're going to go update a task and go to our lock table and see that we created it.
You're gonna have to run really fast
Oh,
because it's gonna come back in that
Oh,
webhook
'cause
and
the
get
in-
unlocked.
could always turn it off.
Yeah, Garrett's asking, do we want to lock before we do call the update task?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean,
before
possibly.
update. Oh, in the business rule.
Yeah,
What he's saying is, what if it comes back from the webhook faster than it can update the record? Boy, I would be.
that would have to be a really
Surprise.
fast webhook.
Yeah.
Well, it could just be a really slow instance, which is a real possibility sometimes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the same thing that makes it so. But if it's so slow that it's writing to the database, it's also going to be slow accepting.
That's true.
It would
should-
make the database. The database would
It
have to
should
be
finish
slow.
the
and
previous step before it does the next one, so it should be fine.
I think we got an error at 11:34:02. Cannot find function lock task in object. What'd I do? Look, man, it's called lock task. This is task util, right? Lock task. Pass it a task gr.
Go back to your. can you
Oh,
go back
in
to
your
the
business
rule.
rule, does it not know the util?
TU is Todoist. I
Yeah.
got the wrong TU. Darn. Okay.
So it doesn't know the util. There you go.
So there's an update task in Todoist and an update task in TaskUtil. That might be a problem. Let's call this one Todoist util. All right, let's not hurt our brains too much with bad variable names. Make that one that. I don't think we call it anywhere else. And task util equals new task util. ITIL? No, util. We all scream for utils. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Oh, it's great.
Save. Thank you. One
dot was scaring me.
more time. It's 2:36. We can't leave on this half-done thing. Finish drawing, please, form, so I can scroll down. Thank you. Okay. And llamas. That's the magic word. It only works if you use llamas.
No diodes for us. Llamas only, please. Llamas to the front.
To the logs. Lock, getting lock, unlocking, locking.
Hey, no
Hey.
errors. That's nice.
No errors. That looks like a full-on
Hey, it compiled. Let's send it in for grading.
production. This I saw before, and I don't know why. I'm going to look into that. For whatever reason, update task is reporting a null on some object that it's got in my debug log, and it still works flawlessly. I don't know what's going on there.
So let's look at the updated time of the record, right? So we know, we can actually tell the difference because we can see it was about 2 seconds for that round trip.
We
So
know
we can
that
see
it was
whether it's 20
locked at
Your webhook
3621.
check
We can see
is
whether
2
that
seconds
record
later.
says 21 or 23 as to whether the lock
Okay.
actually protected what we thought we were protecting.
So you want to see the updated.
I want to see the
I
updated
thought I
time of
added.
that task. Yeah.
I thought I added it. I did not. I updated by, but not updated. Did I personalize or did I configure? I personalized. What do you say? 30, 32
say-
or 34?
All right, 21 is going to be it's going to say 21 because the lock protected it. That's
Come on. Finish drawing. Finish drawing. Scroll
I
down.
mean, that's our hope is 21.
21 is what we want to see.
I'm betting.
Booyah!
There you go.
21. Oh,
Locking
yeah.
in place. Okay.
All right. That is what we wanted to see. Excellent.
Now,
That was a long way to get a locking mechanism.
now
but
go update it.
go
It's
update it
Todoist.
in
Oh.
Todoist? All right. You want to play that game again?
and make sure it's happy.
Okay. Then our add task didn't
go ahead and
add,
do
so
the
we
same.
can't do
Remove
that.
happened.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the same one.
Okay. Take out the exclamation points. We'll leave the llamas because they're magical. And to the logs. You want to see logs?
Nah.
Let's
Just
just refresh
the
your list and we should see
Click the
current
Right.
timestamp
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. A more current timestamp than 3821.
and no exclamation points. Yeah.
Go to our lock table.
Ooh,
In
yeah,
Studio.
3821. So it did update. Why?
No, I didn't update it.
Didn't yeah.
Yeah, it did. There's no exclamation points. But it
Oh,
didn't update.
I got
Sys
the time-
updated.
How could the timestamp? How could that not have changed?
I do not know.
Oh, 3821.
30. What was our other one?
It was like 30. That's the current minute. We just happened to
That
Hit
that
it
is-
exactly
that is a hilariously not
Oh,
knowing
exactly
what victory was.
2 minutes later.
is exactly 2 minutes later in the second through
the
us
one
all.
in 1 in 60 chance of that. That's what we.
That was fun. So it says no log
Paging
here.
Dave to the roulette
it-
table. Paging Dave to the roulette table.
Careful. He did statistics in college. All right. I think we're good, except for adding items in Todoist is not creating them in ServiceNow, which I can fix.
Mhm.
I
So
don't know
that's-
why, but okay.
So that does. So we basically succeeded on everything we wanted to do, which is we've solved the round trip problem.
Yeah.
So there
Yes.
may be edge cases, there may be things we need to look at. What we don't do is we're not in any way addressing the old locks. If if that fails, we've got an old lock right now, but
Yeah, so we've got a mechanism for solving that problem. We just haven't.
it's not it's there may be things that we need to address in the future, but at the top level, the thing it's protecting is being protected. So that
Yeah.
is
Yep.
victory.
All that to preserve a date and time. But we can't, yeah.
Well, it's more
mean,
than that because it
Those
also
are
it
those are
closes.
important.
Although although it was a small window, it was a window for race condition. So, and that actually does close that window.
You know what? Now that Garrett said that about the business rule and the order in which it's doing that, I don't know. I want to lock before I send the request.
There's no. I think that's quite a fine way to do it.
We'll allow it. Go ahead.
I'll sleep better at night.
Send it.
All right. We good?
Excellent. We are good. All right.
Let me stop the screen sharing. Turn the camera on. I think.
I see you.
Okay. I don't see anything. There we go.
All right. Well, that was cool, and I thank you, Chuck, especially considering that 4 minutes before we went live, we switched to this topic. So Chuck did a pretty incredible job on that. So thank you very much. I think we've even got our Skype fixed on the stream. I think
we spent 20 or 25 minutes of that just talking about what we wanted to do, which I think it was a healthy discussion if somebody's jumping into this conversation halfway through.
Yeah, we're back to in the live stream. We're back to the Brady Bunch view, which is good. Gentlemen, how do you feel about your beers?
I was talking too much.
And I like that beers is singular because there's only one at the table.
That's true.
My Heffy is a nice summer drink. I only made it halfway through because we were talking so much. But, you know, I'm going to give that a 3.75.
My Big Vine Chardonnay, which I am very much enjoying. This is I'm going to go on the beer scale here, this is a 4.25.
Nice.
It's nice.
This pineapple, I liked it so much.
He had two.
I got another one while you were.
Those are really good.
These are problematically good.
Those are a problem, but they're actually.
It's like
because it's so good. You have to tell me the name, and I'm going to write it down. What was that one?
It's the Ace Pineapple Craft Cider.
Ace. I've had hard apple ciders.
So that Ace Pineapple Cider is quite good, and they make a couple of others that are really in the same vein of deliciousness. They're quite good.
Is it sweet like a pineapple?
Yeah, it tastes basically like pineapple.
It's got a sweetness, but it's not
with a little.
It's not too sweet for me.
Yeah.
Okay. I like pineapple juice. I'll drink it straight up. But that sounds, like you said, dangerously tasty.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Let me make one quick look to see if we have any trailing. Are these ratings out of 5? These are ratings out of 5, Garrett.
Out of 5. Yeah. They're untapped ratings, so they're out of 5
on a quarter point scale too. So you don't see a 4.38724.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, everybody. And with any luck, we will try to see if we can get Todd back next week. We can do the meetup check-in. So I think that will be fun stuff.
Looking forward to it.
All right, appreciate it. And everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Stopping YouTube. Let me stop overall.